Hey guys, it's Charlene. Today I wanted to talk to you about a system I have come up with to help you pick the perfect colors for ink blending. So I'm going to be talking to you today a little bit about color theory, how color works, and give you some tips and tricks that make it really easy to pick out colors when you are wanting to ink blend. So let's dive right in. I want to start by talking to you about a color wheel. Now, this can look somewhat overwhelming, especially if you are new to color theory, new to picking out colors. This is a color wheel that I purchased online. I will link to this down below in the description. This is probably overkill for what you need as a card maker to pick out colors for ink blending. So rather than looking at a color wheel like this, I have a color wheel that I have put together for you that is going to help you pick colors easily. Red, yellow, and blue combine together to create all of the secondary and tertiary colors. So you can't use anything to create red or to create yellow or to create blue. Those colors are what create everything else. Secondary colors are what is created when you combine two primary colors in equal amounts. So if you have yellow and red and you combine them together in equal amounts, you get orange. If you have red and blue and you combine them in equal amounts, you get violet or purple. And when you have yellow and blue and combine those together, you get green. After secondary colors, you have tertiary colors. Now, tertiary colors are what happens when you combine equal amounts of a primary color with a secondary color. So remember, primaries are red, yellow, and blue, and our secondaries are orange, purple, and green. So when you take blue and you combine it with an equal amount of the secondary color green, you get blue-green. That's usually what people refer to as teal or aqua. Those are just various terms for blue-green. When you combine blue with violet, you get blue-violet. When you combine red with violet, you get red-violet. When you combine red with orange, you get red-orange. When you combine orange with yellow, you get yellow-orange. And when you combine yellow with green, you get yellow-green. So in between these primary colors of yellow, red, and blue, you have your secondary color, and you have your tertiary colors. The next term it's really important for you to know is complementary color. A complementary color is the color directly across from a color on the color wheel. Green's complementary color is red. Blue-green's complementary color is red-orange. Blue's complementary color is orange, and so on and so forth. Now, that's going to matter a lot later when we're talking about what colors work well to blend together. So keep that in mind. A few other terms, though, that I want to go over before we dive into that. Monochromatic color is a color scheme that's based on variations of a single hue or color. Hue is just another name for color. All of these variations of green from light to dark, this scheme here would be considered a monochromatic color scheme. If you were ink blending and you ink blended a light green into a medium green into a dark green, that's a monochromatic color scheme. Tint is any color plus white, tone is any color plus gray, and shade is any color plus black. White, black, and gray you can always blend with any color. It's just going to vary how light or dark that color is. How light or how dark the color is not relevant as to whether or not it's a good choice. Really, where the choices are going to come in as to whether or not those two colors are going to blend well depends on where the color family falls on the wheel. Now that we've discussed some basic definitions around color, let's talk about colors that do not blend well. This is probably the easiest rule to remember. In general, you want to avoid mixing colors that are complementary, meaning you want to avoid mixing colors that are directly across the wheel from each other. They generally will turn into a brown, muddy mess. There are times that you may want to create that color brown when you are blending two colors together, but generally speaking, you want to avoid blending colors on your cardstock to create brown. So that again would be, don't mix red and green, don't mix orange and blue, don't blend those together, don't blend violet and yellow or yellow green and red violet. And again, that's any of those, right? So you don't want to mix a medium blue with any tint, tone, or shade of orange. Doesn't matter if it's light or dark or anywhere in between. If you mix it with its complementary color, when you blend those together with any tint, tone, or shade, it's going to give you a brown outcome. So that's the general rule. But those aren't the only ways that you can make brown when you're ink blending two colors together. For your secondary colors, again, those are the ones that mix in equal amounts from primary colors. So those are orange, purple, or violet, and green. You also do not want to mix with the color that's directly adjacent to that color from your complementary color. Now that's kind of complicated. I'm going to teach you an easy general rule to remember this, but I want to talk about it briefly so that you can understand why it doesn't make sense to blend those colors together, why it's going to give you brown. So let's look here at red and green, right? Directly across the color wheel from each other. And if you try to blend those two colors together, you're going to get brown. Okay, well, what about blue-green? Why would you get brown if you tried to mix that with red? Well, remember that blue-green is equal parts blue and green. So there's still green in this color. So if you try to mix your red with blue-green, you're going to get brown. Same thing with yellow-green. There's equal parts yellow and green in there. If you try to mix your red with yellow-green, you're going to get brown. Things can get really complicated when you're looking at what colors blend well with a tertiary color. And the reason is because your tertiary color, remember, is made up of a primary color, half primary color, and half of a secondary color. So yellow-green has got a lot going on that's going to limit it even more and what colors it blends well with. The colors that will cause you to get a brown blend when you're working with a tertiary color is much greater because of all of that combination. So when you're going across the wheel here, you know it's not gonna blend well with red violet, that's gonna create brown, but it's also gonna create brown if you blend it with red or red orange. Same thing if you blend it with violet or blue violet. So when you're working with a tertiary color, there's a lot more colors that don't work with that color for blending than, say, if you're working with a primary color. With a primary color, it's just these three, right, that aren't going to blend well. But with a tertiary color, it's all 5 of these that are going to result in a brown blend. So these are the colors that don't blend well together. Remember that general rule I said at the beginning? Just don't pick the color directly across from a color on the wheel. But now I'm going to teach you the rule for picking colors that do blend well. And this is a much easier way to remember things. For primary colors, you can mix that color with any color that falls within a category 4 to the right or 4 to the left of the color. So yellow, you can mix with 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blue, you can mix with 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Red, you can mix with 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're working with a secondary or tertiary color, you can choose to mix with any color that falls within 3 to the right or 3 to the left. So for yellow-green, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. For green, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. For green-blue, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. Primary color, 4 to the right or 4 to the left. Any other color, 3 to the right or 3 to the left. Having a simple thing like this available to you to use when you are picking your colors for blending makes the whole process easy. For my channel members, I have this color wheel as well as an ebook talking about everything I'm going over today, you can see that in the community tab, and there will be information on how you can go and download this printable color wheel, as well as a large ebook that contains all of the information I'm talking about. If you're interested in channel membership and joining and what that entails, take a look down in the description of this video. Anytime I have printables that I've created or ebooks that I've created, I make them available to my channel members as a thank you for supporting me on this channel. Channel membership is an easy way to help support creators in the work that they do. In addition to this color wheel, my ebook also contains a handy chart, and this chart is going to show all the colors that blend well together. You can pick a color and just go down the list in order to see what colors are going to blend well. Now you know what colors make a muddy mess, but you still may be at a loss for as how to pick colors to begin with. I have a lot of ideas for you. In my ebook, I go in depth about these, but I want to touch on them here in this video for everyone. You can look at a mood-based color combination, so picking things that evoke warm, happy, fuzzy feelings, or maybe cool, calm, serene feelings. You could have seasonal colors, so you can draw your inspiration from the seasons, whether those are colors that you associate with spring, summer, winter, or fall. Those are great for themed cards, especially when you're creating holiday cards or Easter cards or springtime cards. Another thought is nature-inspired color combinations. If you're working with floral stamps or things along those lines, think about nature-inspired color combinations. What do you see when you're in a forest? What do you see when you're at the beach? Just think about those types of things when you're working on any card involving nature, and you'll probably be able to pick out some beautiful colors. There are many, many other ways that you can find inspiration for picking colors. I'm not going to go into all of them here in this video, but I do have those in my ebook. Things like art movements, cultural references, interior design, fashion, lots and lots of different ways that you can be inspired to pick color combinations. I've put together a few example color combinations for you based on the seasons so you can see how these rules work. These draw inspiration from each individual season, and I've picked out 2 for spring, 2 for summer, 2 for fall, and 2 for winter to share with you. Starting here with a spring combination, and this is Salvage Patina with Squeeze Lemonade and Warm Lipstick. These blend really well together and create a very nice, springy, happy color. In the spring, generally I like to pick pastel tones, things that remind me of the sun starting to come out, things starting to warm up, whether that's fresh grass or the sun or, jelly beans when you're thinking about Easter, carrots, things like that. Those kinds of colors, that's what evokes that springtime feeling for me. My second combination for spring is Spun Sugar, Wilted Violet, and Peacock Feathers. Now, Spun Sugar is definitely a pastel pink, and it is this beautiful light pink color paired with the Wilted Violet, which I actually used to paint my nails this color all the time when I was in high school. I know that's kind of a funny side note, but I love this color of purple when it comes to the spring. This to me is the purple that just screams springtime. And then I also picked out Peacock Feathers. Peacock Feathers is a little bit darker of a blue-green, but it works really well in combination with that Wilted Violet and Spun Sugar. And keep in mind, these are just 2 examples of spring-inspired color combinations. There are countless other combinations out there that you could come up with. I do have everything sped up in this video for purposes of the blending. Everything is at double speed, so just keep that in mind when you're looking at how quickly these blends are coming together. Now on to summer. Summer screams bright colors for me, so I've picked Raspberry, Squeeze Lemonade, and Mermaid Lagoon. These are all really bright, bold, fun, summery colors. When you combine that picked raspberry and the squeezed lemonade, you're going to get a real vibrant orange. And when you combine the squeezed lemonade with the Mermaid Lagoon, you're going to get a really vibrant green. I've used Distress Oxides for all of these color combinations. You also could use Distress Inks. There's no difference here in terms of how well the colors will blend. I just picked the Distress line of colors because a lot of people have those. But certainly if you're using a different ink line, and it doesn't matter if it's oxide ink, pigment ink, dye ink, whatever you're blending, look to the colors. Don't pay too much attention to the names. My next example summer combination is Kitsch Flamingo with Salvage Patina and Salty Ocean. So you'll see that a lot of the colors that work well for spring in my mind also work well for summer. Salvage Patina is one of those colors. I think you can use it for spring or summer color combinations. I think it works well. But it's paired with these other bright, bold colors, right? So you've got the Kitsch Flamingo, which is a really bright, bold pink. And it's paired with the Salty Ocean, which is a very bright and beautiful blue. The Salvage Patina and Kitsch Flamingo mix together and create kind of a purpley color. And then the Salty Ocean mixed in with that Salvage Patina is gonna give you a nice blue-green color in between those two. Now, how far you overlap the colors on top of each other is completely up to you when you are doing any kind of blended background. You can make that transition space as large or as small as you'd like. Sometimes on cards, I want it to be really big, especially if I'm trying to create a rainbow all the way across a card just through ink blending. In those situations, I definitely will bring, for example, my red really far over and blend my yellow really far into my red, because that's going to give me a nice big section of orange. Moving on to winter colors. So I think of winter and I think of dark, cool, calm colors. So here I've picked out some peacock feathers, Salty Ocean, and Seedless Preserves. Yes, I love purple in the winter. I think it's a great color. So these colors, when combined together, create a nice cool colored combination for winter. I could see adding some die-cut snowflakes on the front of this card. I could see creating a winter scene where you add a little white snow-covered hill in front of these colors. Really beautiful. For my second example, winter-inspired color combination, I'm using Speckled Egg, Broken China, and Prize Ribbon. So I'm using 3 very different blues here. The Speckled Egg reminds me of sort of a stormy winter sky where maybe it's about to start snowing in the evening and you're just waiting for those few snowflakes to start coming down. The Broken China is that icy color when it's combined with the Speckled Egg. So you've got this beautiful blue icy feeling to things. And then the Prize Ribbon, you come in with that really nice dark, deep navy color of blue. This definitely screams winter to me. This would be perfect for a sky that you're ink blending. If you want to put a couple of little critters in front of it and they're outside frolicking in the winter snow, I think that would work really well. Or if you just want to put a large word die cut over an ink blended background, you could put something in front of this that says Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. And even though there's no red, green, or gold in sight, this is still a perfect color combination to use for holiday cards. For me, fall evokes oranges and purples and reds, all the colors that you might see when you're going to a pumpkin patch. It also makes me think of Halloween. So for this color combination, I've used Wild Honey, Spice Marmalade, and Seedless Preserves. And Seedless Preserves is one of those colors that does a lot of double duty, in my opinion. I think it works well for winter. I think it works well for fall. Same thing with Villainous Potion, which is a dark purple color. I think that color works really well for winter and fall as well. For my second combination, I've put together some similar colors because I want to show you how different of an outcome you can get using similar but different colors. So my first color is Dried Marigold, and I'm going to blend that into Abandoned Coral, which Abandoned Coral is, I feel like a fall color, but could also be used as a spring color. It has red in it, but it also has some pink tones to it. So I think it's a beautiful color. I'm blending that in with the dried marigold. Then I'll bring in the seedless preserves, just like I did on the first example. So remember that first example was wild honey, spice marmalade, and seedless preserves. This second example is dried marigold, abandoned coral, and seedless preserves. So 2 different beautiful fall-inspired color combinations, very similar colors, but a very different outcome. Here are the seasonal color combination examples all laid out together. And these are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to picking colors that you can combine that are going to ink blend well. In my ebook, I go into more detail about neutrals, as well as more information about complementary colors and how those can work well on your cards. I want to take a moment to say thank you to my channel members. Your support is so helpful in me continuing to put together this crafty content. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe, as well as hit that notification bell so that I can keep bringing crafty content to you in the future. If you're interested in channel membership and picking up that ebook that I've put together, do check down below in the description for all the details. I hope you guys picked up some tips and tricks today, and until next time, happy crafting.